Welcome. Thank you for coming this evening. I see some faces that were here on Thursday night last week. I see here at Oak Grove last week. This will be the same format that occurred at Oak Grove last week. We do appreciate you taking the time for coming out tonight. We sincerely want to hear your thoughts, ideas, and concerns as we move forward as a school district and also as a community. We know you're here because you're sincerely interested in the school district and want to improve. We do have a specific agenda to follow tonight, but we do encourage you to speak freely, to voice your concerns, to voice your ideas. We want to make this an open, honest discussion. We do have a brief video here to start off with that we show to our new staff and our employees. Let's go ahead and get it started, then after the video I'll speak a little bit more in regards to the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Welcome to the St. Joseph School District. We are glad you have decided to join our team. Our mission is to educate each child for success, and our goals this year include better communication in our staff and community, utilizing our resources carefully, and student achievement. We can reach these goals with you. Now let's take a closer look at the St. Joseph School District. The St. Joseph School District is the community's third largest employer. We employ more than 1,600 people. Among those are certified staff and educational support staff. Each day we educate more than 11,400 students. So how do we make that happen? The St. Joseph School District has approximately 1,000 degreed or professionally certified staff in our district. Over 50% of those people have advanced degrees. Our other full-time employees include carpenters, computer technicians, counselors, building engineers, custodians, electricians, groundkeepers, nurses, and more. The St. Joseph School District is home to more than 30 buildings, which translate to 30 acres of roofs, 306 acres of grounds, and 2 million square feet of building space. In 2014, we added 2 new construction schools to our district, the first schools to open in St. Joseph in more than 40 years. We plow 470 linear miles of snow each time it snows, and we maintain more than 100 vehicles, buses, and tractors. We serve 3,200 students for breakfast and 8,000 students for lunch each day. Each of us has an important role to play, and each of us is responsible for building relationships with the students we serve. The more caring adults in a young person's life, the more likely that student will be successful. There are 3 goals that are very important to us. The first is to create a learning environment that will produce academic success for all students. The second is safety. We work to provide a safe environment for students and staff. And the third is to practice good stewardship of our resources. Our Board of Education has a 22-point priority checklist to help our district respond to the needs addressed in the recent state audit. This checklist will help keep the district transparent with day-to-day operations, allow for community feedback in partnership with our school community, and begin the healing and rebuilding process for our district. We are fortunate you are now part of the strength of our team that continues to meet the academic and social needs of our students. As you can see, we are a multifaceted organization, but while we are large, we still focus on the individual student and the individual employee. Welcome to a great learning organization. We are glad you have chosen to join our team. We are the St. Joseph School District, and we are a great place to learn.
When you watch the video and you see the video, it really instills in you all the things that the St. Joe School District does, as well as educate children. We do many things, but many things have changed since 2012, especially since the last bond issue, the last really initiative that was in as far as the patrons voting initiative in for the St. Joe School District. Things have changed in the last year, the last 3 months. Very much different than what it was going forward here today. The community's changed. We're in a different place. We're at a different stage as a school district. The process tonight is to start. We want to listen to you, work with you to improve and to get better as a school district. This is development of a comprehensive school improvement plan. This is a roadmap that we're trying to design, trying to create, trying to have your input in developing. It has to be community driven, but yet Board of Education approved. We want your thoughts, we want your honesty, we want your feedback. As we move forward just in the last 3 months, the St. Joe School District, as per the video, approved a 22-point Board of Education priority checklist. This really has been the driving force and the guiding force for the district and the Board of Education in the last 3 months. We've completed many things in regards to that checklist. We'll continue to move forward in completing many more. I'm not going to go down through and read everything that we have done. The biggest point is point 22 on that checklist, and that is a comprehensive school improvement plan. And that's where we're at today and tonight. Again, please provide us your honesty. Please provide us your feedback, your concerns, as we move forward here this evening in trying to work through this process. We'd like to really see this process evolve, and we hopefully encourage you to be part of that as we move forward. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Joey Austin, and we'll get it started. Thank you.
First of all, welcome. And if you have not signed in on the sign-in sheet, if you would do that for us, please, we would really appreciate it. That way we can contact you when the next town hall meeting is. And there's also a portion on that sign-in sheet if you would like to be contacted to be a member of the lead team here as we go forward. We will certainly put you on the list and contact you when that process begins. This is what we're going to do for the next 20 minutes. We have 2 ways to do this. You'll see some Chromebooks on your table. I think there's 2 per table. So that will log you right into the feedback form, which goes immediately into our website. If you feel comfortable doing that, you may do that. We only have a certain number, so I think there's 2 per table. The other way is the participant feedback sheet. And there are 5 areas that we'd like you to write your thoughts down. The first is student performance and learning. The second is highly effective staff. The third is resources and district finances. The fourth, community engagement and climate. And finally, the last one is governance and leadership. So if you want to concentrate on one area, do that. You don't have to fill out all 5. If you can try and get to all 5, that would be great. And then what we'll do after that time, you can talk to a moderator at your table about what topics that you would like your moderator to know, so that can come back to downtown so we can compile that report. You can take your participant feedback sheet with you, or you can make sure your moderator knows what you've talked about at your table. I also want to pass on that feedback sheet is on our website, so you can go to sjsd.k12.mo.us and go under district info and then SJSD feedback form. If you know of anyone that couldn't be here tonight but would like to fill out information for us, you can do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. And actually, I think we went a little longer last time. People still wanted time. So I'll set the timer for 20 minutes. And if you need more time after that, just raise your hand. I'll kind of start counting you down at 10 minutes. And then we will move on to the next portion. So 20 minutes is on the timer, and begin. And I do have pins or more participant feedback forms if you need that. Just let me know. that ends our time for the individual participation for feedback. And I do want to apologize. My name is Joey Austin. I'm the Director of Communications for the St. Joseph School District. And Dr. Newhart's actually being interviewed right now, so he is our interim superintendent. So I apologize for not introducing each other when we started this process. At this time, what we're going to do is take your individual feedback forms, and there's a moderator at every table. Moderators, could you raise your hands, please? Does every table have a moderator? We're missing it? Okay, I'll go with you guys. What we're going to do is kind of report out to your moderator what you would like them to know. So we have a list that we can take back. Here's Dr. Newhart right now.
I apologize for not
dealing with the media. And we're going to give probably 15 minutes for this, and at the end of that we'll do table reports so we can see if there's a common theme. We did find some common themes at our last town hall meeting last Thursday, it was really fascinating to see how many people said the exact same thing. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, and I'm going to run over to you guys. Could you do this for me too? And I apologize, we didn't do this at the beginning of the meeting. Would you go around your table and introduce each other, introduce yourselves to each other? So if you don't know someone at your table, you have a new friend now. Okay, 15 minutes, here we go. Okay, there we are. Okay, time is up. And this is what we're going to do at this point. We're going to go table to table, and I'm going to have the moderators kind of report out some of the things that your table has talked about. And so at the end, we can kind of glean if there are any specific topics that really start to match up, or they might not. So, Dr. Lau, are you ready? You're still writing. You're such a good student. All right, here you go.
Thank you. We got very focused on student performance and learning. We really talked about how main resources should be for the student's education. However, that does not seem like that is what's. However, seems like that is not what has happened, and things still seem to be that way. It was talked about that thousands of dollars were possibly taken, perhaps by one specific individual who appears to have stolen, and is not being held accountable for it. And that's very perplexing to the folks at this table, again, in light of student achievement, where that money could have been spent on students. It's also a question how it's possible to just move on without the issue of that money being accounted for and folks being held accountable. Children are ultimately deprived of opportunity when this kind of thing happens. We also talked about how do we retain good teachers and build on the strong teachers that we have retained. We need to build back the base of teachers because it really has an impact on student performance. We also need to reestablish a healthy environment for working. And in addition, we need to focus on an appropriate level for each student's skills and talents. This table talked about meeting students where they are and to create options for them, and not a one-size-fits-all approach works for students. We also talked about employees feeling free to speak about the issues that have happened in the past because it has an impact on them, and an impact on teachers can create an impact on student achievement. We need to, according to this group's discussion, look at ways in which pay and other issues might impact why teachers may not be retained. And in addition, because of the issues, at this table it's kind of felt like parents end up having to pick up some slack because of resources being stretched thin at no fault of the teachers or parents. We also talked about resources. In particular, we talked about the use of building facilities and really evaluating our structures so that we make appropriate decisions independent of loyalty that might be felt to neighborhood schools and those kind of things, that we would want to make smart decisions so that businesses would be more attracted to St. Joseph. In addition, we talked about, in terms of resources, how PTAs are limited in ways in which they can help buildings, and that can create some frustration for folks that are wanting to help, especially at this time. Some of these items contribute to why schools to the south are becoming more attractive. We also talked about food in the cafeteria, and one of our members is going to kind of address that when we have an open comment so that it can be spoken to a little more effectively than the time that I would have. In addition, the community engagement and climate piece, really would like to see the community more involved, and really that the school district would reach out and ask everyone to participate and be creative about that, not just those that traditionally participate. In terms of governance and leadership, all board members would need to be a true leadership team, working for students and faculty and the district's well-being, to be smart financial managers and hire the best superintendent for a district and for the long term. So that wraps up this particular table's discussion.
Thank you. Carolyn Sanders. My group had a lot of good suggestions. In terms of student performance and learning, we want to work to improve, to get supports out that the kids get, making sure that there's more opportunity to connect with business. There's a CAPS program in some other cities where high school particularly can connect with employers in the area. Something like that would be good. Keep the classrooms up to date with materials. We had some positive feedback. The group, at least one member mentioned she was glad to see SPED included this year in those up-to-date materials. Refocus on the students and the classroom. And safety in the buildings. A suggestion was made for perhaps installing a couple of panic buttons in each building that could be used in an emergency. And again, testing, raising the scores of the students, putting an emphasis on science and math, and then again working with large employers for future jobs and retaining our youth. As far as highly effective staff, we'd like to see some folks would at least some kind of a feedback mechanism for students and parents to evaluate teachers. We'd like to see teachers given priority for increase in pay, pension, and full benefit pension, not losing any pension benefit or any insurance benefit was mentioned. A compliment pay that we have a lot of quality in our current staff, but concerned that we may have lost some folks during some of the problems that the district experienced. And we'd like to make sure that we're able to attract and retain good teachers by offering a good competitive pay. And then last in that area, provide flexibility in the learning environment, that buildings can be renovated to allow more flexibility in their function. As far as resources, a couple of folks commented they'd like no outsourcing done. We would, at least a couple of folks would like to see a bond issue eventually, that there was a good plan for renovations and for addressing closing and relocating of schools. They'd like to see eventually that built back up. There's concern about insurance changes. They'd like, one person at least would like the board to reverse the vote that tied the administrator's pay to the teacher's pay. They're glad that the district is doing competitive bids now and would like for that to continue. And a comment and a suggestion was made to change to the K5, 6A, 912 matrix before addressing
which building should be closed and which should be retained. As far as community engagement, a lot of folks at this table would like to see this town hall setting continued, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly. A nice suggestion about perhaps a website that we could have folks go out and just see the comments that have come out of these town hall meetings. And there was a comment made that a levy will be difficult to pass with the current board members present. And last, the governance and leadership. There were several comments complimenting the change to a more transparent culture. And we would like to see a way to inform parents and the community on legislative support that's needed. Perhaps there could be a link on the website, talk to your legislature, or this is something you might want to do a petition on. And then it would help folks in the community understand what the district needs from the parents.
Under student performance, we had addressed the need of the whole child, not just what is tested. Technology versus traditional needs to be a learning balance. Make sure that we're doing the fundamentals like telling time, counting change, things like that. Opportunities for thematic units. Make sure there is fun in teaching and the kids enjoy learning. Under highly effective staff, the table agreed that the community appreciates the support and supports teachers and principals, and there's a lot of love for the cooks, engineers, and support staff. Under the resources, that the district needs to maintain transparency. There needs to be more accountability. Continuing sharing out info at board meetings. They like that all the checks go through the board and the board approves those before they're paid out. And they had a little saying here, when there is nothing to hide, you hide nothing. Under community engagement and climate, they talk about reestablishing the quarterly or more community meetings with a systematic approach and goals. Under governance and leadership, more servant leadership, more listening before decisions are made, and wanting to get more input and consensus from the stakeholders.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. Amy Todd.
We focused on the first three areas, the student performance and learning. Students need more support and resources available to them. Review student-to-teacher ratio to keep it at a desirable level. Make sure all students have the same opportunities. Those in the middle ground sometimes can be left behind without resources available to them. Want to see the children receive more community support. Teachers need support from parents and the community in our district. One of the biggest things was everything that we do in the school district should have the focus of the children first. Always think about what is best for the children. On highly effective staff, provide teachers additional help in the classrooms when needed and continue to review that. Make sure all the special education students are covered to make sure they have enough teachers. And under resources and district finances, make sure the teachers have the funding available to them to support their classrooms and make those things available to them. And that's what our group focused on.
Dr. Brian Schindorf.
Okay, under student performance and learning, we talked about that we need to consider more music programs. We stated he didn't say it. He paid somebody. It was stated that we provide quality education, that our learning environments need to be modernized, and we need to consider the needs of all of our students from the traditional paper pencil work and the use of technology today, that not all students love technology, and some actually do like to hold a book and read it and use paper and pencil. St. Joe is good at picking learning structures and sticking with it. They don't jump all over. More intervention for struggling students that don't qualify for the formal services that we provide. For highly effective staff, our staff is talented and dedicated, and they need better support from the community and from the district. Need to consider more mental wellness education and support. St. Joseph is a high needs area. And St. Joe does a good job with PD. We need to continue with what we do there. For resources and finance, we are recovering the best that we can given the situation in the past. Teachers need the resources in their classrooms. We need to keep up the level of accountability for all staff. We need to continue with town hall meetings. We need to continue to educate and to listen. We need to keep up with transparency and reach out and support all levels of the community. Not all community members feel safe coming to an environment like this and providing input, so we need to reach out to those that don't. And for governance and leadership, best practices in human resources that understand the laws, the policies, they know and understand what needs to be done. Open community meetings or town halls. There was a quote made from John Maxwell, walk slowly through the halls, referencing spending more time in the schools and have leadership structure and a chain of command in place.
Marlena Wally is new to our district. She's our Assistant Director of Special Education.
Some of the highlights from each of our topics were under student performance and learning, preparing students for life after graduation. We have the common theme in several of our areas of hiring and retaining teachers, preparing students for required testing, as well as ensuring that the district maintains vocational programming in both buildings and technical schools. And highly effective staff, consider looking at the database for highly qualified teachers, look into our HR processes for hiring, and recruit outside the district, and look at competitive salaries for teachers. Resources and district finances, look at resources that are not related to direct student contact. Keep a closer watch on district finances through board approval. Get rid of the sunset clause in the school levy. Stop cutting maintenance workers and start implementing repairs and cleaning buildings. And implement an indoor air quality management plan. The district has old buildings. Under community engagement and climate, maintain positive climate in the district so that good teachers will want to be here. Earn the trust of voters through transparency. Consider how we are supporting teachers. And under governance and leadership, continue the transparency again, and administrators need to take charge and run their own schools.
Good evening, I'm Denise Birchmeyer, the Director of Special Services. We would like to see an enhancement of vocational technical educational opportunities, particularly the technology at Hilliard's Technical School could and should be updated. Our manufacturing programs need to be continually updated and grown. Our businesses are seeking employees with technical skills, and these technical skills are much more needed at times than students with a college degree. For example, welders with very specific technical skills was a particular example. The district is asked to explore what the North Kansas City School District is doing with its CAPS program. It's a junior senior level program for high school students where they can intern for half a day at a business. The CAPS in North Kansas City partners with business communities and the two-year technical college along with Northwest Missouri State University. This is a way for students to develop a relationship with the business and with technical skills, and maybe have an opportunity for manufacturing work here in St. Joseph with starting salaries between $40,000 to $50,000. The quality of the education is one of the strongest factors for retaining and attracting people to our city. The quality of schools is a must for being at the top of our priority list. Keep up with the technology and their preparations for what the students want to do after school. We need to keep up with technology in all high schools and Hilliard's. Please bring back the focus on our students and focus on students and their scores. We want whatever educationally is best for the success of students in our buildings. Please remember that management problems can be fixed, and we cannot lose sight of our main purpose of educating students and focusing on the education of kids. Regarding highly effective staff, remember that success of the students is closely tied to the quality of our teachers. It would be helpful if the counselors in our schools would become more acquainted with the types of jobs and businesses in St. Joseph, as they may be unaware of what opportunities are available to our students. Continue to employ highly quality staff. We have to get the best people to promote the education of students. We need to not focus as much on the priority of cutting the budget, but focus on the quality of education provided to our students. The board should ensure that they do no long-term damage to our educational opportunities by cutting too deeply. Regarding resources and district finances, again, focus on quality education and opportunities for students. Tread and be careful about the messages we send to the public regarding the tax levy. Maybe we should try to do the levy, quickly bring the question of the levy back to the voters. What partnerships does the district have with businesses and community members? We will need a collaborative effort with others to help pass the levy. We do not want to mislead the public, and distrust can be a cancer. It will be important for the district and community to stick together. Our community engagement and climate, positive response to the Board of Education meetings being live streamed. We should probably continue that for transparency. The community trust needs to be kept positive and building in a positive direction. We must maintain the same level of transparency and communication with our public. Look for ways to partner with the business community. More than just inviting them to sponsor a building, we need the business community to rally around the district. The district also needs to demonstrate that we are willing to go the extra mile to know what the businesses and community seek and needs of productivity, quality employees, and the quality school system. For governance and leadership, the long-term focus should be on meeting the community's needs for quality education and future workers and community members. We must have quality teachers to ensure this. We all have to be entirely about education. The Board of Education's decisions make impacts that affect the students' education. And if it's not a positive result for students, then they perhaps should reconsider. Tim Ellis.
Thank you. We have a lot of bullet points, so I'll read through these. Regarding student performance and learning, it must be a top priority of the district. Building administrators need to be involved with the decisions being made. The board meetings need to focus more on student performance and learning as a topic. They need to meet kids where they are and to help move them forward. Proper professional development needs to be held for all staff. The proper programming for extremely high-need students needs to be effective. They need to have effective programs. They need to address the discipline as a classroom. The social economic status at all schools needs to be looked at, not just those that are non-title. The building and materials must be 21st century material and technology. The full potential of the kids needs to be focused and needs to be focused on to be reached. Regarding highly effective staff, compensation above others must be kept for recruiting and retention. The insurance piece is a very important part of compensation, and it should not be an administrative decision regarding budget or as part of the budget decision. They need to listen to the voices of the employees. They need to treat the staff as an educational team and not as robots. Relationships must be built with all staff, and the culture needs to change so that staff will stay and be productive. No staff member should be required to take second jobs to meet their finances or their finances. The board administration needs to meet with the staff on site in the buildings and not at the administrative level, not at the administrative building. There's also a need for subs at the building. Other staff are being pulled for subs, and then that disrupts the whole building because they are not part of the sub-program. Regarding resources for the district, option 1 for the insurance is the best need based on the feedback that they're getting from staff. The balanced budget needs to be avoid direct effect on the students and those directly affected with student teaching and learning. New policies and procedures need to be vetted through the buildings with feedback, and they need to keep in mind that education needs to have a heart for the people and students. They need to know, we need to know what it will take to financially run a successful school district. The PAC was engaged as a community, or excuse me, the PAC engagement was part of the community, and they will do so again and will be successful in the initiative. Also asking the community will help them bring the PAC back into the process. Regarding community engagement, this kind of leads into that. The PAC must be re-engaged to finish the process that they started. The community trusts this group and will help move the district forward. They don't need to reinvent the wheel, build upon the work that was done and not start over. The data that was gathered during the PAC process is valuable, and they need to use that and not just disregard it. The PAC is on the 22-point chart. Parent responsibility for the achievement, attendance, and behavior of the students needs to be, parents need to be held responsible for the achievement, attendance, and behavior, not just the schools. Regarding governance and leadership, communication at the building level needs to be done with feedback, not mandate to be pushed down. They need to have frontline decisions at the building. They need to let the staff do their assigned jobs, and then the staff needs to be held accountable for those responsibilities. No micromanagement. The community must be able to trust those leading the district. The board must use communication and feedback from the community. They need to listen to the community, not just provide lip service. All leadership must continue professional development, not just the teachers. Training for an effective team includes the board members. Top-down initiatives don't work, and in summary, the final statement was, the good things that have been done in this district and continue to be done so are being overshadowed by the actions of a few.
Chris Silcott.
Under student performance and learning, felt that there was too much emphasis on the map. Wanted to see teachers provided with the technology for one-on-one instruction. However, felt that didn't want that to be at the sacrifice of interpersonal interaction between the teacher and the student. I want to see more emphasis on preschool programs, including to advocate for funding sources for those programs. For highly effective staff, wanted to see all staff competitively compensated. Also wanted to see a rigorous evaluation program. Wanted to see the board address compensation, both salary and benefits as a whole package, not for staff to take a hit on insurance before they address salaries. Under resources and district finances, want to see to continue the current level of transparency. Want to see the sunset clause removed on the operating levy. Like the financial reports, however, felt that they were too detailed, and there may be a 2 to 3 page summary would be more beneficial. Wanted to see proactive, positive interaction with the press. Not easy to say. Community engagement to reestablish community trust with the district and to reactivate the PAC. Under governance and leadership, want to see open lines of communication and felt that all staff should have access to board members at all times.
Leah Schmidt.
Most of ours have already really been hit on, so in student performance and learning, the most important thing here was that not every student learns the same way, and that we need to incorporate multiple strategies. Highly effective staff, we talk mostly about compensation and having adequate compensation for all of our staff. They felt that better communication between everyone in the district would be very helpful as well, and talked about using our counselors and having them available as very positive. As far as resources, we talked a lot about accountability, and as everyone did, And then they also thought that maybe looking at the organizational structure at the administrative level would be a good thing. As far as community engagement, there's a lot of positive comments about these meetings and hoping that that would increase our community involvement and people see results from the meeting, that would help. Governance and leadership, excuse me. Teachers' ideas should be listened to, and they thought that the 22-point plan was a good start. And as far as what our students need to be successful, we need good teachers that will.
Tim McKay.
Under student performance and learning, the school district's doing a very good job as far as educating students at some of the schools to the business world because of the opportunities they have, different classes, more of a different program. Curriculum is a little different possibly from one high school to different. Benton Central currently have a job shadowing program, and Lafayette for some reason was canceled this year. Just concerned on why that was done. More of a focus on the Board of Education to improve the student performance. It seems like some of the students are starting to fall behind now in the Kansas City schools. Hilliard's doing a very good job. Students not fully prepared to enter the workforce was one of our concerns. The gentleman here from the 139th Airlift says that they're more than open to do some internships with our students. Highly effective staff. Is the district being competitive enough to get an environment for those staff members to come to the district to want to work? Important to have better teachers that not necessarily have a higher ed degree, whether it be a master's or whatever. Students, or the staff needs to improve helping the students find the right fit when they are trying to make that career decision in what field, or whether they want to go to blue collar or whether they want to go to college. Community engagement and climate. Are the leaders doing enough to address what's happened in the past? Make the staff feel more valued, to take care of them and have a quality staff. And we did not get to the other two.
Starting to go down a ramp here. Okay, Dr. Stagel.
That's the best feedback from the past. Okay, student performance and learning. Our group said to focus on PD for teachers, continue to focus on wraparound services for students in poverty, focus on 21st century learning and well-designed curriculum, keep pursuing small class sizes, and the suggestion was made that sometimes adding paraprofessionals to help support in the classroom is a good idea. Continue to invest in teachers, increase rigor and aspirations for academic excellence, bring the basics back into the classroom, such as writing, counting change, and life skills. There was a concern about starting classes in August because it's still extremely hot outside, and so maybe adjusting the schedule until at least all buildings are air conditioned. There was concern that making sure each student is ready for the next level, especially high school, leaving and entering into the workforce. Continue to invest in age 0 to 5 education, and continue to teach the individual child and not whole class. Try to figure out individually what works best for each student. In regards to highly effective staff, continue to engage staff in growth opportunities, make pay comparable to other like-sized districts, continue recruiting high-level teacher candidates and personnel, develop leadership in every sector of the staff, continue to reward people who think outside the box, collaborate with top teachers to provide optimal learning experiences for all teachers, recruit teachers from outside the area, competitive compensation to keep our great staff, research best practices for staff development, and incentives for teachers who are doing well to motivate them to stay. And there was also concern that teachers need to do a better job presenting themselves well, dress, and act appropriately. Resources and district finances. Exhibit strong stewardship of all resources with a focus on student welfare and learning. Strong support for teachers. Invest in learning tools for strong education in the basics. Reward quality academic results in under-resourced areas. Important for staff to go to conferences, but be selective, and the suggestion was made that send one teacher and have them come back and share out to the whole staff. It's critical to restore community trust to approve another levy. I think we are making great strides. Long-term strategy for retiring old buildings, and there was also would like to see school fundraising go to more academic areas to help kids. In regards to community engagement, great start with the 2 new schools. That helps the community. Continue to engage the business community to help support in the classroom. Do a better job of getting the positives out in the news and other venues in order to help pass the levy. Board and admin need to think outside the box in order to get the community's support and trust. And continue community engagement activities just like this evening. And the last category, continue the new transparency policy, evaluate all spending policies, communicate clearly how and why administration is compensated. Board must be engaged and do their homework and understand all spending policies. There was concern that the nepotism and good old boy network still continues with the district, that senior leaders still have significant ties to the local community, and that new blood is needed from outside the community for our district. Continue to recruit high-level talented leaders to guide the district. Continue transparency. Continue to educate leaders on leadership, legal issues, personnel management, instruction, and community engagement. Develop a healthy leadership model for the Board of Education. There was a concern that they were still skeptical about the new leadership since the last didn't provide funds toward public schools as it should, although the 2 new schools were built. And the last comment was to hire Dr. Newhart permanently.
Thank you. Moderators at your table, if you could collect those comments for me and also the sign-in sheets, that would be great. At this time, and Dr. Stagel, if you would help me, if you have a comment that you would like to make to the group, if you would raise your hand to be recognized, and we will come around with a microphone. And so this is an open comment session. Oh. Hi there.
Thank you. Okay. I heard every comment that has been made towards the school district and the restructure, and I think it's very interesting to hear many opinions that are very much alike. As a mother, I appreciate every comment, but also I cannot stop thinking what we are here for. And even when we talk about the district and structures and money, staff, and programs, I think we forget the basics, innocent children. Because many kids go to school and they think that we are in a town that, well, this is not Kansas City, we don't have money. And we don't have many facilities that many other towns do. Many of these kids come to school hungry. And many of the families can't afford it. I've seen many kids coming to school with 1 bag of potato chips, and that's breakfast. So I know the school district facilitates the free breakfast in lunch, which is a reduced meal or sometimes free, which is good. My concern is that even when the idea is to give the best academics for the kids don't have the resources, the mental resources to deal with the academics we want to give them. And with that, my point was the cafeteria, the food. I've done some small research and looking at the internet, as I was telling the lady monitor here. Nowhereville, I think in Connecticut, small town. And they supply their own food. They hire a cook, just like a mini restaurant, and they cook their own meal for the kids. They don't have to worry, they don't have to outsource it, they don't depend on corporations, they don't depend on processed meal. A kid is hungry after half hour eating just a donut, pancakes, or chicken nuggets. A homemade meal, just like when you grew up and you ate a home meal, is important for the kid. Something that is healthy and basic. So with that, a kid that will be growing will be more ready to learn at school and less busy thinking that what should he think he's going to have. And so with that, all the resources that is being taught here is going to be worth it, worth the effort for them. But as much as we talk and we want to do for them, if we don't feed them the right food, as I was saying before, excuse me, there's food that corporations or business donate to second harvest food bank. Well, since maybe the school district doesn't have enough money to buy regular food or hire people, maybe we can get donations until we stand up on our own feet. That way, we start with something, again, for the kids. It's good to have everything that we can give to them, but if we don't start with the right source, with the proper nutrition for the kids, they won't be able to fulfill the expectations we want for them. They can get high academic. I just try to get my kids as much as I can homemade food. And I hear many times their friends, they see my son, what is that? It's homemade. What do they get? Lunchables. They get crackers, bologna from Walmart. That's lunch. If they eat at school, they get the new menu that is being there. Last month, I was laughing when I looked at the menu. It was just PB&J. How a kid can survive with that? How can they pay attention in class? So maybe there will be a reason for the school district to think of that also. And I know that many people, especially the cafeteria people, weren't too happy because they have to cook when OPA was here. OPA was, I'm not a fan of OPA as well, but at least on Wednesdays, they have homemade, sort of homemade in the kitchen. So I'm not too happy in that aspect. I wish, the school district will put more attention into it. And also, maybe restructuring a little bit the curriculum, because the kids are tired. They are taught in the classes, and they have small recess. That sometimes, when I guess they don't behave as they're supposed to, teachers ground them, and they don't go to play. The kids don't have the energy to go and waste it outside or waste it at the gym. And so, in the class, they can't pay attention to the teacher because they are all charged with so much energy that they cannot waste. So maybe the school district should also consider restructuring the curricula for the betterment of the kids. Thank you.
I like these forums and all these talk, and used to call it before a long time ago, used to call it total quality management programs. Everybody got together and said, gee, how should we put the tire on the wheel and make it better for the car? What I'm concerned about as a citizen is that this looks nice on paper, the transparency looks good. We all hear the same thing. Now, I keep hearing about the new levies. I don't think the community out there is ready for another levy or another tax. I think that's the whole issue at this particular time. It's just, everything always comes down to monies. But I think until the trust factor is shown, we see it every day. Matter of fact, if there's debate tonight, people are going to get on stand, I promise you this, I promise you that. I think unless the Board of Education and these meetings and these things that obviously are good, don't get me wrong, that's why I'm here. I'm going to listen, I'm going to participate. But unless it's shown to the public or brought to the press that people can see on TV or the other individuals that are out there that are not here, to show that A has been completed, B has been completed, things that people that you can win that trust back with, all these pieces of paper and all this that we're doing today, I don't think it's going to be a good idea because we have to win that trust back. You all have to win that trust back, not us. I mean, we're the ones, I'm one of the ones that's like, you got the kid when we see what we see in the meetings. Just as I discussed here earlier at this particular table, any one of us go down to Walmart and take a can of hairspray. I can guarantee you, since the police are going to pick us up and we're going to be talking in front of a judge. But thousands and millions of dollars that are lost. And then we all wonder, oh, sorry, gee, maybe the person will pay it back. That's what we hear. That's what I hear. That's what I hear from the press. I'm not sitting behind the closed door, so maybe I'm walking out of place. But I think these were good ideas based on what is here and what we're doing. But I think the only way to do that then is to show somehow back to the public that these meetings are not just meetings to look good for the camera.
Can I ask a quick question to help me particularly? Because I think what you just mentioned and some other comments over here, how do we get that communicated in order to move forward? That this is happening, it's behind us, or that it's in the hands of the court system?
I think it needs to be.
Does that make?
I think it needs to be brought out in some sense to work with the press, in some sense to show that it shouldn't show. I mean, what we see on TV, what we see in the news is basically, well, they've shut the door, or well, they won't let us in, or then that causes the conspiracy theory. Okay, what are they doing then? Why are they meeting tonight? You know, why didn't they let someone know? Why didn't they tell us? And so I think the open portion that you're conducting, I think, is the right process. But then I think that it needs to be shown this is what we've done, so that if anybody does that resource, or if the press does come back to say, well, you can write on a piece of paper, I've done A, B, C, and D. But obviously, if the community doesn't look, or if the press says, well, we're going to look at those resources to see whether you've actually conducted that, and say, check mark, yes, they did. You know, that's the only thing that I can see, is that it's going to take some time. I mean,
right.
When you hear people, when I go to work and we're milling around, as you say, the water cooler, based on what has happened, we're all like, you got to be kidding. You know, I mean, this amount of money, or the other gentleman, oh, well, it took $700,000, but you just got to pay it back. Gosh, I wish I could pay $700,000 back. That's the common consensus in an individual town such as St. Joe, where everyone pretty much knows. I mean, there's not a high consensus of the have and have-nots. You know, and so that
and that it's working through the process. Do you think people know that no different than anything else where?
I think just like anything else within the United States, based on even our own philosophy, what we think of our government in Washington, there's been a lost piece that people that are looking for. Hey, you got to show me something, you know, of you keep continuing to want. Here's another tax. This tax is going up. We need more money. We need more money. Yet no one's salaries are going up. This other pieces are always here. It's the same thing with teachers. You know, I mean, they're constrained. When I went to school, I'm sure when you went to school too, we didn't have to come up with as parents and say every 5 minutes, well, I need $10 for this. I need to have more money for that. It's like, here's the money that are being paid on a levy or a bond, or just based off our home that we have to pay for the public school systems. And yet at the same time, then our kids will still come home and say, I need another $9, I need another $10. What's that for? Well, there's no resources there. The teacher don't have this, they don't have that. When we went to school, paper, pens, all that, everything was there. It's not there anymore. We all know that. I don't know if there's ever going to go back to that again. But the public portion of trust, from bottom level to Washington, D.C., the common person, it's like what you say is, okay, is it all talk? And I don't know any other way for you guys to do it other than what these forms come from. And what you're going to do is to actually show we've done A, and show the public we've done A, and have somebody not within St. Joe or audit or the press come back and say, yes, we've double-checked this.
Verify.
And verify and say, they did do that.
Can I make a comment on that, on your question? I mean, I have serious distrust with the district, and it's going to take a long time for me to have that trust regained. And I'm not even a St. Joe. I mean, I've only lived in St. Joe for 8 years, so I'm not even a local. But with everything that has gone on and what's come out, it's been going on for so many years that people didn't know about it. And so now that it's come out and they're seeing what has all gone on for so long, that one bad apple is going to take 10 times longer than than the district coming out and saying we did this. People aren't going to remember the good thing; they're going to remember that one bad thing. And when piggyback on your comment, when you pay somebody who was part of this whole problem, $30,000 to leave, and that money could have gone to educating our sons and daughters here instead of giving that person $30,000 to go and whatever else the board has done that hasn't been reported for people to leave. I mean, how can we even gain any, or how can you gain trust from us for that? And we talked about here, thinking outside the box. If you want to maybe get the community involved in stuff, go sit at the mall, set a table up at the mall, and put out all the good things that the district has done. I mean, that's thinking out of the box. It might sound quirky, but people don't get the paper, they don't listen to the news at night, but they go to the mall, they shop. Work with Walmart and set a table up inside Walmart to tell people what the district has been doing to regain that trust and confidence back. Until you do that, you're not gonna move past that.
Any other comments?
I agree with what you said, but it's got a tough. They got a tough job. We have a tough job. We all have a tough job because before they can improve, and I think they are improving, there has to be that. Have to have that faith in that they're going to improve. I wouldn't want your job for anything in the world. I really wouldn't. And let's give my hand. Let's give my hand for trying right now. But this gentleman's right, and maybe that's a good idea. Taking it to the mall, taking it somehow. But it's hard to get people to be involved. Just tonight, I had a neighborhood watch meeting that I wanted to set up. I sent out 650 flyers. 650 flyers. I sent them to about 10 other flyers posted in different places around town. Called a lot of places, put on Facebook. I got with a lot of people on email. The people I had show up, 4 people. And it's kind of disheartening, but I got to find another way to do it. I got to find out what didn't work. I have to try something different if I want a neighborhood watch. When I go door to door and I've seen talking to people, oh yeah, I'm going to be there. We need this neighborhood watch. It didn't happen. So my heart goes out to you, goes out to all the teachers. But we met here tonight. When we leave, we can start ourselves. We're responsible to tell our friends, we're responsible to tell our neighbors that, hey, they are doing something. Hey, they are, they're trying to do it, but we can't let them do it on their own. It ain't gonna happen. We have to help. You're here, they're gonna listen, and we're gonna tell people that they're trying. Because it's gonna take a long time. I mean, we're coming from the bottom of hell and trying to get back up to heaven. It's gonna take a bit, and maybe we need to do some prayers along with that. And again, as my head goes off to you.
Other comments? Yes.
Just one thing, Dr. Newhart.
Hold on, you need a mic because we're on camera here.
Just Dr. Newhart and district people, I wonder if perhaps making the public more aware of what is not going wrong might actually impart a better impression, and that being that DESE, Department of Education, Elementary and Secondary Education, has not brought this district under review, has not zeroed in on any significant matters that they feel need warrant review. So perhaps it's time to tout your successes as much as the deficits.
And you're right, and we're doing a lot of things right. That's the interesting part. And I think you're right, we've got to do a better job of getting that piece out. I just sat through this morning an hour exit review from the RRS audit. And yeah, there's findings, but in all honesty, they're minimal findings. And the positives that really came out, we're going to make corrections out of that. And we'll have a full report here next week. But there's good things and also things that we can get better at. It's not the enormous bad things that maybe everybody thought there would be. Okay? You're right as far as the DESA review. The credit goes back to these buildings and building principals, these building staff. They're the ones that have held this district together, the last several years. They've really protected the academics and the kids and moved the district in that direction with everything that's happening in downtown central office. And they're the ones that need credit. You're exactly right. We need you. We need this to evolve, to grow. And that's the only way it's going to work. Being a watchdog, being an active, involved parent, patron, that's never going away. It should never go away. That's what keeps the honesty and the integrity of any government official, there. So there are a lot of good things happening, and we have to tell that story. You're exactly right. But it's difficult when all these things have happened and that becomes the media attention. No disrespect to the media by any means, but that's where the focus has been, and we've got to get the focus shift.
Other comments? Well, thank you so much for coming. I do want, yes. As I'm walking, I will say that we do have a new email address, and that is feedback@sjsd.q12.mo.us. And so, if you can remember feedback, any thoughts, any comments? Dr. Henry?
This is not nice. I think I really love this format. I think this is a really positive step for the district to engage with the community, invite whoever wants to come. I heard several times it would be good to have more of these, and I think that's true. I think this is a great atmosphere to allow people to express frustration that they feel, that they've heard people talk about, that it's been an ongoing conversation. I think I think there's been a lot, and I've been in this community, back in this community for a couple of years, and I sense a lot of energy that's frustration towards the district and anger towards abuse, sometimes oppression of workers. Changes need to occur, and we've seen changes. And I've really seen some positive things in the last several months. What I'd love to see the community do is how do we put some of that angry energy that we felt into more positive investments in our district. I mean, it's obvious that we care greatly about our district. It's obvious we care greatly about ethical treatment of our ethics within our leaders. We care greatly about how our students are taught. How do we turn some of that energy that we feel into positive investments in our local schools? We all live in neighborhoods. How do we invest in our neighborhood school? How do we invest in those teachers? I've heard comments about our teachers need to feel appreciated. I agree completely. Is that solely the job of administration, or is that part of our jobs as well as community members? How do we, as living a few blocks away from the school, how do we go into that school and show appreciation for the teachers, for the principal, where they feel like, I feel appreciated by the members of this community. And I know many of you do that, but I think that's the things that this community has to do. When we want our administrators to show appreciation for our teachers and our staff, how do we do that? How do I spend part of my month going in and showing these teachers that I really, really greatly appreciate what they're doing for our students and our kids?
Any last comments?
Yes.
Yes. Hold on.
I don't know that I need this. I would just like to see the board members actually stand up here tonight because I don't know who they are. I don't even know what they look like.
I'm one board member.
Stand up together and just give us your names. We see partial pictures on the news. We see partial pictures, very few, in the newspaper. We don't even know who you are.
I'm Lori Prusman. And I'm Kathy Hodges. We were the new elected ones from a couple Aprils ago now. There's another election coming up this April.
Any other comments? We will announce our next town hall meeting. It will be held in November. We're looking at 2 different dates, and we'll post those on the website, our Facebook page, our Twitter. And also, if you receive or email, you can get our Board of Education meeting recaps and also our staff newsletter that will tell you when those dates are as well. And I'm sure that the media will share those. Thank you so much for coming. Again, if you have any other thoughts, you can go on our website or you can email feedback at the long thing. Or you can email any one of us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.